5 Japanese Minimalism Habits that Clear Your Mind Fast. If in just a few days you could make your mind lighter and clearer, would you want to try? The Japanese have 5 minimalist habits, not just to tidy your home, but to clear the trash in your head. And the interesting thing is, one of them even encourages you to love your cracks and your unfinished parts. Less, lighter, less, clearer. Are you ready to open the door and let space in? We live in a world where mornings begin with a to-do list so long there is barely time to breathe. Rooms filled with things that once felt necessary, but now sit like invisible reminders, and a mind stretched like a string about to snap. Amid that pace, the Japanese have found subtle ways to untangle both space and thought faster than we expect. They teach a simple truth that refuses to be forgotten: less is not a lack, less is room for clarity. Empty space is a decision. When you remove, what remains begins to speak, and the peace we keep chasing has been waiting just behind the door that opens to less. It is the crack that allows the light to come in. But if we do not create space on purpose, the noise will set the rhythm of our heartbeat. Clutter does not only live on shelves, it congeals in the mind, pulling attention in every direction, draining energy into petty choices. One more unchanged day is one more layer of pressure, like an invisible backpack growing heavier on your shoulders. When we do not choose, objects and notifications will choose for us. The price is always presence. Leave it untended, and yesterday's dust will slip into today. Leave no boundaries, and mental fatigue will muddy the waters of the heart. Then we look up and realize, time keeps moving, but we are standing still inside a room of our own making. If you stay with me to the end, you will learn 5 Japanese minimalist habits that can cut the noise so the mind becomes calm like a lake at daybreak, gather your focus so you deepen one thing at a time, and help you touch peace and clarity in the smallest moments. Pouring water, folding a shirt, opening a window. This is not a list of theories to hear and forget. I will give you practical exercises you can do today, even if you have only 5 minutes between meetings or on the evening train. A few of them will change how you see your space, how you hold your time, and how you see yourself, to the point that you may smile at an old crack and whisper, beautiful in its own way. There is one habit that sounds counterintuitive, but heals very quickly. In a moment, you will understand why. Here, we do not try to become perfect. We learn to be enough. And from that enough, clarity walks in. 1. Danshari, the habit that frees your mind instantly. Danshari is a doorway opened by 3 keys. Dan refusing what is unnecessary, Sha removing what is no longer useful, and Re releasing emotional attachment. It sounds simple, but it is in fact a quiet journey where every object is a story and every drawer is a season of your life. How many times have you stood still over an old box, knowing it no longer serves you and still keeping it, afraid of the hollow feeling of letting it go? We often keep things because, what if I need it, or because of a beautiful memory. Notice how those silk threads of memory are winding around your mind, pulling you back into the past and stealing the lightness of the present. We seldom ask, does this still serve the life I am living today? We seldom answer honestly. Begin with a calm afternoon. Open a small drawer. Touch each object as if greeting an old friend. Ask a very direct question. Are you here to help me live more clearly? If the answer is silence, nod gently, say thank you, and let it go. That small ritual softens the heart, because deep down you are not only discarding a thing, you are loosening a knot inside. When the hand releases, the heart widens, less to see. A line as brief as a bell strike. And when the bell fades, you will hear the quiet within yourself. Do not be ambitious. Start small. Each day choose just one item you have not used for at least a year. A shirt from a past life, an anonymous cable, a notebook you keep only for the old words inside. Every time you send an object off, take a deep breath and notice how a warm wave of lightness spreads through you. The body understands before the mind can assemble its arguments. The invisible load drops a gram, then another gram. You may be surprised to find yourself standing straighter, breathing deeper, and seeing everything soften. There is a playful exercise. Imagine you are allowed to keep only 10% of what you own. You do not need to declutter in a rush. Just sit down and write the items you would choose. When the list appears, you will meet a mirror. What is essential reveals itself in silence. A few garments that make you feel like yourself, a few books you always open again, a few tools that nourish a habit that keeps you alive inside. The rest, even if once useful, may only be an echo. Keep what is alive, send off what echoes. Another short line, bright and clear, easy to remember. If you prefer something more concrete, try a 3-day challenge. 15 minutes a day. Day 1 for one drawer, Day 2 for one corner of the desk, Day 3 for one section of the closet. Set a timer, begin, and be with only the choices in front of you. When the bell rings, stop, close the door, and feel the air change. Lighter, wider. Ease moves in like a new breeze. You will realize that real change does not come from a single impulsive cleaning spree, but from a small rhythm repeated consistently, gentle yet persistent. Dripping water wears stone. The strength of Danshari lives in that rhythm. You may touch items soaked in memory, an old photograph, a gift that once warmed your heart. Here, Danshari does not ask you to forget. It invites you to remember in a healthier way. You can keep the most beautiful and meaningful representative, then photograph the rest, write a line of thanks, and let them go. Memory lives in you, not in dust. Remember by light, not by weight. When you understand this, you will smile as a new freedom takes root. The strange thing is that as the space empties, the voice of what matters grows clearer. You will see your desk like a still lake that invites you to concentrate on one thing at a time. Your mornings become simple. Fewer choices, less scattering. Your mind is no longer tugged by old stories lying around the room. Presence returns. Energy stops leaking into petty decisions. And you begin to catch very small signals. Your breath, your heartbeat, a clean idea just arriving. Danshari does not only free physical space, it unlocks the mind. When you remove what is not needed, the true value of what remains rises like stones when the tide recedes. A chair becomes a seat for meditation, a notebook becomes a garden for seeds of ideas, a cup becomes a ritual that opens the day. You look around and see that you are not losing, you are returning to life what no longer belongs to today. Letting go is a form of love. Love for the life you are living now, enough to clear a path for it to breathe. Sometimes, discarding one object is discarding a whole pocket of invisible weight. An old fixation, a fear of scarcity, a habit of hoarding for just in case. Each time you choose lightness, you teach your heart to trust in enough. That trust heals. Tomorrow you will step through your doorway with a different feeling. Steady and empty, empty to receive, steady to continue. When the mind is less crowded, a new question appears. How do you nurture peace and creativity within the space you have just opened? The answer lies in what the Japanese call ma, the art of space and silence. There, it is not only about having less, but about placing a breath exactly where it belongs. We will walk into that white field in the next part. 2. Ma, the hidden power of empty space. Ma, in Japanese, is an intentional space, not a forgotten leftover, but a breath placed exactly where it belongs. It is the pause between two heartbeats, the rest between two sentences, the quiet ground where light can descend and ideas can take root. In a world of flashing notifications and overpacked schedules, silence has become a luxury. Yet the Japanese teach a very simple truth. Silence is not an escape, it is a return. Empty space is also a decision, and when you dare to keep it, your mind finds its natural rhythm. Begin with the desk in front of you as if arranging a minimalist painting. Keep only one notebook and one pen for the work you are truly doing right now. No tower of pending papers. No snarl of cables twisting like an unfinished thought. When the surface is clear, something curious happens. Your brain stops scanning for new stimuli and settles like a still lake. You notice one single stream of thought, continuous and unbroken, no longer led astray by scattered objects. Less to see, empty to reveal. Two short bells, ringing just enough for you to remember. Ma does not live only on the surface of things, it lives inside your calendar. Set aside one block of time each day with no work and protect it like a ritual. Do not fill it with errands. Do not sneak a look at email. Do not turn it into a to-do in disguise. This is an energy clearing a place where your nervous system can be put down, where attention can rest and be renewed. You may take a slow walk around your home, pour a cup of tea, or simply sit by the window and watch the light change. No demand for outcomes. No forcing yourself to relax. Only presence. Presence heals by itself. There is a small, very Japanese practice that is quietly powerful: ma time. 3 to 5 minutes of stillness each day. No phone, no conversation, no lofty goal. Simply listen to the quiet around you, the way you would let a cup of tea steep. When the mind wanders, smile and guide it back to the breath. When an idea appears, nod gently, hold nothing, push nothing. 3 minutes are enough to crack the wall of busyness so the light can enter. 5 minutes are enough to pivot an entire day. Between two actions lies a breath. Place ma in that breath. You can try a 7-day experiment so ma becomes a way of living, not only a lovely moment. Each morning, before you begin work, arrange your desk like a minimalist canvas. 1 notebook, 1 pen, 1 single task. Midday, honor 3 to 5 minutes of ma sit still. Look softly into the open space within and without. In the evening, lock your calendar with 1 hour free of work, so the body knows it is time to turn inward. On day 1, it may feel unfamiliar, as if stepping into a new room. On day 2, the body begins to trust. By day 3, you realize you no longer need to try to focus. Focus appears when obstacles disappear. From day 4 onward, it becomes rhythmic, like water moving, like a haiku with no extra syllables. Do not fear emptiness. Emptiness is not lack. Emptiness is soil. Soil for peace to sprout, for creativity to take root. When you remove one object from the desk, you are not poorer. You are richer by one unobstructed view. When you guard a blank space in your day, you are not wasting time. You are returning time to its true duty of restoration. When you sit still for 3 minutes doing nothing, you are not missing the world. You are finding your doorway back into it with clearer eyes. Empty to be full. That is the gentle paradox of ma. Let ma reach beyond appearances and touch the way you speak, listen, and respond. In conversation, instead of answering immediately, hold a white beat before you reply. That white beat quiets defensiveness and opens space for understanding. In your work, before moving from one task to the next, draw an invisible line, a small ma between the two. It is like wiping the board clean before writing the next line. The mind no longer carries the echo of what came before, and you enter the next task whole. White space makes the music. Without white space, sound becomes noise. One day, you will look at a clear desk, an open notebook, and a waiting block of empty time, and you will realize you have changed your pace of living. No more chasing fragments of minutes. No more squeezing yourself into cramped corners of the schedule. The mind breathes, the body breathes, ideas breathe, and within that breath, something else grows quietly. The quality of attention. You look at one thing and stay with it as you would sit with a beloved person, unhurried, undistracted. The caliber of presence becomes the measure of a good day. When you have learned to keep space, you will feel an urge to make everything within that space simple, natural, and serene. That is the next Japanese step. Kanso, essential yet luminous, rustic yet deep. We will enter the beauty of that refinement next. 3. Canso. How simplicity heals you from within. Canso, in the Japanese spirit, is the beauty of the simplest thing. Not performative, not ornate, just enough and bright like a drop of dawn dew on a leaf. It is not a trend of tidying for a pleasing glance. It is a way to heal mental exhaustion by dismantling the hidden mechanisms of complexity that drain us every day. We think we are free because we have many choices, yet the endless number builds invisible walls. One decision touches another, and by noon we are already weary. Too much makes us unable to see. Canso enters like a gentle friend, lowering the volume, returning to us a day that can breathe. Picture an ordinary morning. You open the closet and a forest of fabric spills into your eyes. You touch each piece, try to pair them, measure your mood, and then realize the clock has slipped too far. One beat late, and the entire day slides off its rails. Now imagine a different closet, only 10 pieces you love most, that fit the person you are, ready for many situations. Your hand reaches, chooses, wears, done. The mind feels as open as a window just lifted. One fewer decision, one layer of air made lighter. Fewer choices, more freedom. A short line like a clean cut through the morning tangle. Simplifying does not make you lack. It brings you back to what is right. One well-fitting shirt, one pair of shoes sturdy enough to carry you, one bag that holds what you truly use. When the objects around you are clear in function and in feeling, the body and mind slow down, less guarded, less braced against a day with too many forks in the road. You no longer hold endless dialogues with trivial possibilities. You begin to converse more completely with your work and with those you love. Simple to shine. It reads like a reminder and also a motto. That refinement goes beyond the closet and flows into the kitchen. Each morning, instead of hunting for a recipe, choose 1 or 2 steady breakfasts that are wholesome and in rhythm with your body. It may be a warm bowl of oats, or eggs and greens with a cup of tea, not because you are less creative, but because you reserve creativity for where it matters. The presentation, the new idea, the conversation that needs your full presence. When the stomach knows what will arrive, the nervous system unclenches and the mind clears. It is a quiet kindness to yourself. Simplicity is compassion. Then Canso lays a hand on your calendar. Each morning, write down the 3 most important tasks of the day. Not 10, not the easy fragments that make you feel busy. Only 3 that carry real impact. Look at them the way you would look at 3 stones placed in a stream. Water still moves, noise still exists, but the path is visible. Every notification afterward is measured against these anchors. If it does not serve them, set it aside. If it does, set a timer and go deep. Focus is no longer the strain of forcing yourself. It is the natural outcome of an environment cleaned of excess decisions. If you want to feel this fully, give yourself a 7-day practice. On the first day, choose the pieces you love and place the rest in a separate drawer without rushing to discard. On the second day, commit to a fixed breakfast and prepare the ingredients so tomorrow morning requires no thought. On the third day, write the day's 3 priorities on a sheet of paper in the center of your desk so everything else must go around it. On the 4th day, reflect. How is your mood? Where does your energy rise or fall? On the 5th day, refine 1 item in your simplified closet if it no longer makes you feel like yourself. On the 6th day, remove a non-essential meeting to protect a deeper rhythm. On the 7th day, sit still for 5 minutes and write 1 page about what has changed in your way of being present. No judgment, only noticing. The cadence of simplification, like a small sutra, begins to become a way of breathing. The interesting thing is that Kanso is not rigid. It does not ask you to turn life into a straight, emotionless line. It invites you to remove so that what is truly present can shine. A pair of earrings you always wear, a scent that calms you, 1 trusted app for each category of work, a habit of closing the day with 3 lines of gratitude. When everything is lean and fitting, feeling has a rightful seat, memory has a place to dwell, and you can finally see yourself in the mirror without the dust of choices in the way. Less is not lack, less is room for light. Then you may notice you begin to speak differently. Words become simple, direct, and warm. You ask plain questions, listen for real, answer briefly and deeply. Meetings no longer rush by like a waterfall of information. Small tasks no longer devour the day. You sense a new quality of energy, steady, clear, sufficient. When you must decide something large, you do not panic. You place it in a simple frame, look straight at it, and choose. Canso has trained you from the smallest details upward. When life has been simplified, each moment grows clearer, like glass freshly wiped. You begin to feel the worth of a whole second, of a meeting that will not repeat. The Japanese have a philosophy that helps you grasp each of those moments entirely, called Ichigo Ichi. There, we learn to see each encounter as the one and only time in a lifetime. And that understanding turns time into a gift. We will open that gift next. 4. Ichigo Ichi, 1 moment that changes everything. Ichigo Ichi, in the Japanese tea ceremony, is a very small whisper that can move an entire day. Every encounter comes only once in a lifetime. Even if you meet the same person tomorrow, the light will be different, the words will be different, and the hearts of both of you will no longer be the hearts of the minute before. We think time is a circle. In truth, it is a falling petal. One time, then gone. That is why every moment deserves our full presence, as if we were lifting a warm bowl of tea in our hands. Do you remember the taste of your coffee this morning? Or did it pass like another notification in the day? We take a sip, eyes already on the screen, the mind running to the 10 o'clock meeting, worry tugging about the reply not yet sent. We sit with friends, but the ears listen halfway, the other half chasing what is not here. And the evening closes with an emptiness. Did we live this day fully, or did we merely pass through it? Ichigo Ichi lays a hand on our shoulder and speaks very softly. Now is everything. A short bell that shakes the noise loose inside. Try living one day in that spirit. When someone speaks with you, set the phone down, leave the surface of the table clear like a still lake. Look up, meet their eyes, breathe in as if you were hearing them for the last time. Do not interrupt. Do not prepare your counterpoint. Listen to understand. You will see a different depth in the face before you, a warmer timbre in the voice, and even the pauses between sentences become rich with meaning. Presence is a gift, given to the other and to yourself. In the morning, before the chain of tasks begins, create a very small ritual. A pot of tea, a cup of coffee. Bring the cup near, feel the aroma touch your nose, the warmth soak through your palm, the taste greet the tip of your tongue. Do not rush to swallow. Count 3 breaths. That simple sensation is like pinning time with an invisible clip, keeping the moment from slipping away. You do not need an elaborate ceremony. You need one honest minute. Slow down to see. When you slow down, life comes closer. At day's end, open a notebook and write down one moment you remember most clearly. Only one. And why it was special. Perhaps it was a nod of understanding in a meeting. A strip of sunlight across the kitchen floor. The laugh of a delivery person at your door. Record it like placing a small label in memory. This is worth living. After a few days, you will notice your memories become less tangled by shattered fragments of tasks and richer with tiny pearls of presence. Remember in order to be grateful. Thank the very day you are in. If you want to go deeper, try a 3-day challenge. Each time you do something, imagine it is the last time. The last time you fold a shirt, the last time you wash a cup, the last time you call a loved one. It is only an invitation of imagination, but your hands will slow, your gaze will soften, your voice will lower. Attitude changes, the quality of feeling changes. Irritation over a small mistake fades. Procrastination from dullness strangely dissolves. When you treat a task as the last time, you naturally pour respect into it, and that respect heals accumulated fatigue. Ichigo Ichi does not ask you to turn every minute into something extraordinary. It simply asks you to be fully present in the ordinary. Because the ordinary is most of life. When you are completely here, regret about what has passed pulls you back less, and worry about what has not yet arrived pulls you forward less. Freed from those 2 ropes, the mind settles like a small bird that has found its branch. Peace is not something to search for far away. Peace is the quality of presence. Being here is enough. You may be surprised to feel relationships shift in tone. A friend shares something they have never said. A colleague drops their guard because they feel heard. You yourself begin to hear the small voice inside an old desire that has long been quiet, a boundary you need to place, an apology you need to speak. When each moment is seen as once in a lifetime, you do not scatter words carelessly, you do not skim emotions like skimming headlines, you sift and keep what is essential. Fewer words, deeper meaning. There will be times you forget. You will multitask again. You will be pulled away. It is all right. Each time you notice, simply return to one breath and one reminder, once in a lifetime. That reminder is like a door always open. You step through, and on the other side is a clear, bright room. From that room, peace can travel with you, from moment to moment, like the quiet shifting of light across the sky. But even when you live each moment fully, you will meet a gentle truth. Things are still not perfect. There are scratches, there are unfinished edges. There are outcomes that do not go your way, even when you have been completely present. And that is its own kind of beauty, in the Japanese way. They call it Wabi-Sabi, loving the cracks. In the next part, we will touch the peace that lives within what is not yet perfect. 5. Wabi-Sabi, finding peace in life's imperfections. Wabi-Sabi, at the heart of Japan, is the art of seeing beauty where most people turn away. The scratch on a bowl, the moss on an old stone, the worn shine of a hand on a door handle. It tells us that time is a quiet artisan and that imperfection is not a flaw but a voice. In a culture that worships the polished surface, we fall into the trap of start when it is perfect, and day after day life becomes a waiting room. Wabi-Sabi sets down a gentle reminder. Nothing is perfect, nothing is permanent, nothing is finished. Hearing this, the chest loosens. We are allowed to live. Think of a porcelain cup with a chipped rim, still beloved because it carries past seasons. Every crack is a chapter, every patch of faded glaze a warm memory. You lift the cup, not to hunt for wholeness, but to feel presence. Cracks to shine, a short line, enough to rest on the tongue of the mind like a tea leaf that has not yet dissolved. If you have been hesitating because something is not ready, let today be the day you begin before you feel prepared. Write the first page of the book that makes you nervous. Host a small class even if the room is still plain. Make the phone call to apologize even if your words feel clumsy. Do not wait for the right pen. Do not wait for the right light. Do not wait for a version of yourself that never trembles. The first step does not need to be beautiful. It needs to be true. Do it first. Become good later. When the hand begins, the heart catches up, and skill arrives in thin layers of patience. Wabi-Sabi also invites a new gaze for old objects. Instead of replacing, try repairing or repurposing. Think of kintsugi, the craft of joining a fracture with gold so the broken line becomes a bright path. What once made you hesitate becomes the very soul of the piece. A table with a scar tells a story. A mended shirt becomes a shirt that is unmistakably yours. When you accept, you breathe life back in. Repair to love. You love because you have gone through something together. Most of all, this is a stance toward yourself. When you make a mistake, instead of condemning, treat it as a milestone of growth. Place a hand on your chest, breathe, and say aloud a simple sentence. I am learning. A small mistake today guards you from a larger one tomorrow. A clumsy moment reveals a blind corner that needs light. When the frame shifts, the anxiety thins and shame turns into fuel, to see. The clearer you see, the truer your steps become. If you want to anchor Wabi-Sabi in your days, take a 5-day featherlight journey. Each day, photograph one crack or mark of time around you, the tea kettle's ring of stain, the scratch on your phone, the fine crease at the corner of your eye, the flake of paint on a railing, a habit still unfinished. Beneath the image, write one sentence about the beauty it brings. Patience, endurance, memory, character, depth. 5 pictures will become a small collection of honesty. And from honesty, the heart softens. See to love, love to be at ease. You will notice that as Wabi-Sabi seeps into your rhythm, the pressure to compare quiets. You spend less time in front of the mirror searching for flaws, less time online measuring yourself against rows of standards. You return to your own cadence, a home that is tidy but not sterile, a desk that is clear yet holds a notebook with a worn spine, a voice that is slow, sometimes broken, and always sincere. The raw becomes nourishment rather than an excuse for self-doubt. Rustic is real. Real is beautiful. Wabi-Sabi does not promote neglect or carelessness. It teaches you to tend to what is unfinished with a grateful heart. When you patch a small gap in a plan, you are learning responsibility. When you honor a tiny advance instead of waiting for a dramatic leap, you are training endurance. When you pause to praise yourself for one more step forward, you are cultivating self-respect. Small to endure. A field is grown from seeds. There will be days when you feel tired because the road is long and results have not yet aligned. Sit down, pour a cup of tea, look at any crack, and repeat this line. Not perfect, therefore soulful. Imperfection keeps the door open to learning, to others, to life. It also allows you to smile gently at yourself, the one who is still walking, still growing, still learning to love what is here. When you weave Wabi-Sabi with the 4 earlier habits, Danshari, Canso, and Ichigo Ichi, you not only clear the mind, you arrive at a wider and deeper way of living each day. Less yet enough. Empty yet rich. Simple and warm. Present and tender with the cracks. From there, life does not demand perfection in order to be loved. It asks whether you will show up, whether you will care, and whether you will continue. In the closing, we will tie these threads together and see how a living fabric has formed a new pattern: peace. At this point, we close a small circle and open a larger one in your life. What remains can be held in a single mantra. Minimalism is not about living with less. It is about living with more. More presence, more peace, and more freedom in the mind. When Danshari untangles, Ma gives you room to breathe. Canso clarifies your choices. Ichigo Ichi invites you to be fully here, and Wabi-Sabi teaches you to be gentle with the cracks. You realize you are not running away from life. You are returning to your own rhythm, less to see, empty to reveal, rustic to warm. Each day, only one small action, repeated like a slow bell, and clarity arrives by the most natural path. If you want to continue this journey, I have a video that shares 7 Japanese morning habits to help you begin your day light and focused. It is a short but deep path, a small map to open the morning with stillness and momentum. I will meet you there. And if this video has been helpful, please hit like and subscribe so you do not miss the next shares. It is how you speak to the algorithm, and it is also how you tell yourself that peace deserves priority. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Among these 5 habits, which one will you begin today? Share it in the comments. Your answer might be the match that lights someone's way at the moment they need it most. A new day will come. A new breath is waiting. We will meet at the next step.